How's it going, guys? I'm Dr. Zed. I'm out here on Susie enjoying the ride. I got this that stupid warning label taken off. It looks all nice and shiny now. I also put this stuff called 501 on her fork boots. You can't really see them from here, but I cleaned them up real good, then put that on there, and they look like they came out of the box. So they're looking really nice and shiny. I also put some on the seat, which I think was a bit of a bad idea because it's a bit slippery. It's a bit too slippery for my taste. But in case you guys didn't know, or didn't see my Instagram post, I've had Susie for just, like, Monday was a year with Susie. So, obviously I couldn't do anything on Monday. But, today I wanted to do 5 things that I dislike about the DRZ400S. You might be asking, why are you doing 5 things you dislike about the bike that you just said you've had for a year? Well, these aren't really things that I don't dislike as a nitpicks. These are things that I dislike about the bike itself. Like, I'm not gonna pick on the speedometer, the lack of attack, or like how the key is positioned, stupid stuff like that. It's gonna be stuff that is standard on a DRZ400S. Okay. Oh, by the way, these are no particular order. I don't find order. It's hard to keep track of things without a list. So number 5. Start from the top. The first thing that I dislike about the DRZ400S is the tires it came with. I know that I'm running Warp 9 tires right now, Warp 9 wheels with Michelin Pilot Power tires on, but I'm talking about the dirt setup and the stock tires, the Bridgestone Trail Wings, also known as the Bridgestone Death Wings, because they're notorious for sliding out. Mainly the front tire. I really dislike those because that's how I first dropped Susie. Now don't get me wrong, the tires are great for like any type of road. Or if you're just going to be doing like gravel, like fire roads. But if you go up to where I first rode Susie, Ransom Pass, they're not going to save your butt. Actually, that's why I have a 2-finger brake lever instead of the full finger. It was a full finger brake lever, and then I had to set her down. Softly, mind you, but the brake lever did stick out just far enough to where it bent. So that's number 5. Number 4, the headlight. The headlight is something that a lot of other DRZ400 owners will point out as them not liking it. The headlight, it's not the brightest. I've ridden at night, and you're either blinding people at night with a high beam, or they can't really see you with a low beam. Now, I've considered getting an aftermarket headlight, but there is a lot of things to do with the wiring and like whether or not the headlight is connected to the ignition relay. From what I've gathered, if you don't have the wiring set up correctly, you'll eventually blow your headlight out from starting it. I don't remember what the wiring diagram was, but that's the reason I haven't changed the headlight yet. So that's number 4. Number 3, the seat. I know this is a dual sport, and you're not supposed to have your butt in the saddle all the time, but for longer hauls on the road, which is what I primarily do, hence the supermoto setup, it's not the most comfortable. I've actually modified it a little bit for when I was first starting off. I trimmed off some of the foam underneath the seat where I sit so I could put my feet down at stoplights, but I've gotten over that, and I could easily flat foot it now just because of the supermoto wheels. But the seat doesn't have much padding to it. I've done 8-hour days on the seat, and you're really sore afterwards. So that's, oh hey, nice, T100 camper. So that's number 3. In fact, you just like stand up on pegs. That negates the problem. Well, I've read somewhere that it's illegal to be standing on the peg. So if a police officer sees you standing on the pegs, he can pull you over, write you a citation. Which I think is pretty stupid. I mean, yeah, I guess if you're doing stupid stuff like stand-up wheelies. But if you're just standing on the pegs to give your butt a break, especially if you have a horrible seat like the DRZ400 or the WR250, from what I've found out, then sometimes it'd be nice just to stand up, especially on a bike that you can stand up on. You just it gets sore there over time from sitting, and it's nice to be able to sit down, or stand up rather. Stand up and just take a break. Take a load off, basically. Here's this weird sculpture thing. Is he on the phone? Wow. So, sidetrack for a bit. That sculpture, people are known to park their cars in and take photos, and it's actually illegal because you're not supposed to be on the bike path with your car, obviously. So back to the list. Number 2, the gas tank. I will get, if I'm nice with the throttle and not hot dogging it all the time, I can still go on trails and get almost 200 miles to this tank, which is good. This is a 2.9 gallon tank. I think the 0.9 is the reserve. It's a massive reserve compared to the tank. Man, that's a lot of dust. I'm gonna shut up my topic real quick. So it's not the worst tank, But for a dual sport, you would think that they would have more than almost the 3 gallons total. I know you can get aftermarket tanks, yeah. I just don't like the way they look. I think they should have something that doesn't involve making the tank your fairings, which is stupid in my opinion, because if you fall over on a trail, or especially on the road, you're gonna have gas spilling everywhere if those crack. I guess you could negate the issue by just putting in some JP weld or something in your pack. But I don't like the idea of having I don't like the idea of having gas in where your fairings are. I know they make larger tanks that don't do that, but the form factor on those isn't the best either. So there's not really a happy medium for the gas tanks. I personally love the metal tank just because it throws that street bike flair into it again. Whereas the plastic tank, it looks like a dirt bike. And yes, the DRZ400 is a glorified dirt bike, but it's nice to have a little bit of painted steel on it. Before I move on to point number 1, I'm just going to say that none of these detract from how much I love this bike. I might be a little bit biased because it is my first bike, but I can't really see anything like any of these detracting from like how fun this bike is. I'm not like a street hooligan by any means. Yeah, I just love this bike. I'm gonna have to do a 5 things that I love most about this bike. Until then, I'm gonna move on to point number 1, which is the seat height. Thank you, Freddy the Roadwork. The seat height is, I think it's 36.5 inches, around there. I know it's 36 something, for the S setup, which is dirt trim, which is made a little bit taller. I think it's about an inch taller with the D606s that I have mounted on my dirt wheels now. Because they're a bigger tire, they have actual lugs on them. And we're not going to be taking Susie on the freeway. So the seat height. It's pretty tall. I've had friends that have tried to sit on Susie, and it's very, very tall for them, especially for a shorter person. Okay, one last interruption. I really dislike people that slow down and then speed up once you pass them. That's just, ugh. just no. Bad person. For a taller person like me, who fully geared up stands just over 6 foot, it's not that big of an issue, especially from supermoto setup. In dirt trim, it's a little bit of a different story just because of the top heaviness nature of the... Oh, let's see how fast this thing is actually. So my speedometer is accurate. Yes! The DRZ is a bit top heavy, just the nature of dirt bikes, I guess. Not that I can't control that. But for a shorter person, I could see that why they might have an issue with how tall the DRZ400 is, or any dual sport really, in the dirt trim. So those are my 5 things I dislike about the DRZ400S. I'll be making a video about things I love most about the DRZ400. It'll probably be things I love most about Susie herself, rather than the DRZ400S like this video was about. But until then, I'm Dr. Zed. Make sure you hit that like button. Tell me in the comments what you want to see next time. Tell me if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Hit me up on Instagram. And I'll see you in the next one. Dr. Zed out.